Hello! Welcome to Lakewood Next Daily Devotions. I'm Mallory, and I get to pick up with you today in Matthew 16, verse 13. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do you say that the Son of Man is?" "Well," they replied, "some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and others say Jeremiah or one of the other prophets." Then he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" I'm going to pause there for a moment. This is a beautiful setup that I think Jesus was purposefully orchestrating. Jesus wasn't looking for an ego boost or because he didn't know who he really was, but he was setting it up just for the answer that we will hear in just a moment. The fact that they had an ear into what the culture was saying was good. They needed to know what the others had thought or what the culture was saying Jesus was. And all of these were flattering terms, giving him respect and honor, but all of them fell short in one way or another. It isn't likely that the Messiah was something talked about as a suffering servant or as a son of God. All teachings really pointed to the Messiah would come in power and might, and that they were going to rescue the Israelites from enslavement like they had done with the Egyptians. And so that is the thought they were looking and hoping for. And so they were wanting someone who would come in power and might. But then Jesus asks, "Who do you say that I am?" And Simon Peter replies, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus replied, "You are blessed, Simon, son of Jonah, because my Father in heaven revealed that to you. You did not learn this from any human being. Now I say to you that you are Peter, which means rock, and upon this rock I will build my church, and all of the powers of hell will not conquer it." Can we give a moment to stop there? Peter's answer is more profound than we realize. Of course, we all are been leaning in and are recognizing that Jesus is the Messiah. This thought isn't new, even in saying that he was John the Baptist or Elijah or Jeremiah. Those were all still thoughts of the fact that he could be the Messiah. But the fact that he was the Son of God, God in the flesh, was what was remarkable. Because that was not what was talked about. That's not the common teaching that they heard growing up. So the fact that this was revealed to him, that Peter said this, wasn't that it was come from any teaching. It had to have come from God, a divine revelation. I think a lot of us yearn for a divine revelation. We want some supernatural understanding. And yet here, Simon Peter receives it, probably without even realizing it. He might have been just as surprised as the rest of the disciples, and the way that Jesus responded with such gladness and affection for the answer. And it was true. Jesus is God, and with that, he calls him rock. Peter means rock. And he says, "Upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell will not conquer it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whoever you forbid on earth will be forbidden in heaven, and whoever you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven." Another translation, which I do kind of like a little bit better, says, "Whatever you bind here on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose in earth will be loose in heaven." That was a very common teaching in the times, in the Rabboni circle, that if you were under someone, they would teach that. And that just means that they had the power and authority to allow or to permit. And so Jesus was saying that I am giving you the permission to have what is allowed here on earth will be allowed in heaven. But let me back up, because this is very important about the rock. A lot of confrontation goes around. What did Jesus mean about Peter being the rock? One main thing that I think, because there's lots of different teachings, so I'm just going to focus on the one that I believe is true. Jesus is using a play on of words, that Peter being the rock and his confession being solid. So he's basically saying that upon this confession of Peter, the rock, I will build my church. And my church, that word right there, that's the first time it is used in the New Testament. Church is ecclesia, and it means the chosen gathering. So here, Jesus is already giving a foresight into what he is preparing. His kingdom of heaven will be a chosen gathering here on earth. His church will be built upon the rock confession that Jesus is Christ, the Son of the living God. That is powerful. And that is the key to the kingdom of heaven, to believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. And that is what also gives the authority to permit or not permit. And then he leaves it with a really funny warning. I always laugh at these. He sternly warns them not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. Now, we can understand why in hindsight, but I'm sure that was confusing in the moment. And I can't wait to talk to you more about that.